general format is
Cool.
we will start out by basically introducing ourselves, a little background, hobbies. We don't need to get in depth in it. I was born in 1970 in a barn in West Virginia. We don't need to do all that, but we should tell a little bit about our backgrounds and what you can say what you do for a living. You don't have to. That's fine. I've been gaming for X number of years. However you want to do it. Just a little bit about yourselves. We can each do it in turn, or we can do it all at the same time, and it would be ridiculous. But anyway, and then after that, what do you want to do? You want to launch into a topic? Do you want to talk pop culture? What's the latest things we've been watching, or what do we want to do after that?
I do have my topic, and I have info on my topic. So whenever we want to launch into that, I'm ready.
Cool. All right. Intros. Okay. Now, when I talk, I'm going to be sort of, unless I'm addressing you guys, I'm going to be talking as if this is being broadcast. So it'll be like Alan knows. It's like you're not talking to a specific person. You are talking to an audience.
Right.
Yeah. So like, unless I say, hey, Pagan Tech, yakety schmackety, hey, Jerry, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Green, yada, yada, yada. It's, I'm kind of, I'm going to be kind of sort of prodding along, and, I may actually kind of drive things this time, if you guys don't mind.
Not at all.
I am absolutely okay with that. I love it.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So intros, Phil, what's your topic?
Tonight, I was thinking about discussing procedural generation in games and yes or no kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. And the pros and cons thereof?
Pretty much.
Cool. All right. Hoser, did you have anything that you wanted to discuss in specific?
Well, if we do have time, because in light of a couple of recent events, I wouldn't mind going with what I was mentioned before, which is the importance of music in video games and in movies and such.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Okay, Jerry Formal, did you have anything in specific you wanted to talk about?
I've not thought of anything. No, I'm gonna be boring for this stream, I think.
Hey,
Well,
cool.
Wait a minute, hold on. Is Jerry growing a mustache?
What?
Yeah, he's got some facial hair too.
I've got
my
some facial
God.
hair going, yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to be a man. Well, it's about time.
All right.
All right. Well,
I couldn't resist that, sorry.
I see how it's gonna be this evening. Okay. All right.
you know your way around video games and whatnot. So whenever you want to hop in there.
Yeah.
Give your 2 cents. That's what you're here for. Okay. I will probably be able to contribute more heavily to the music when it comes to video games and movies, as opposed to procedurally generated / I don't even know what the other term is, game worlds. But I've obviously gamed in both, so I can contribute 2 cents in there as well. I also may interject at some point, and because I'm sure at some point I'll end up calling you Hoser, and unless you really know either the Great White North or hockey, that's going to confuse a lot of people. So I may have to explain that out at some point.
Hey, Holzer.
Yeah.
Take off, eh?
You knob. Just so actually, let me just put it out there real quick, just so you guys know. Hoser, we call each other Hoser. It comes from Bob and Doug McKenzie. They were a comedy duo back in the 80s. But the term Hoser actually comes from back in the days before in hockey and ice hockey, before they had Zambonis to resurface the ice. They just had dudes to go out on the ice and hose down, spray water onto the ice so it would freeze up. And those guys were called hosers.
Cool.
Because it was considered a what's the word I'm looking for? It was not considered a high skilled job. You basically just squirted water onto the ice. And so it was a we use it as a term of affection, but it was actually a term, and not a term of endearment. Let's put it that way. It was considered an insult, but
Yeah.
it has evolved otherwise, at least with us.
Kind of like peasant.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and we all know what knob means, right?
Like a door?
Yeah,
okay,
that's
yeah,
Sure.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So everybody gets a turn, right?
Right.
Not
Whoa!
knobs, plural.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh my.
All right. So, oh my, I can't
Oh
get my
my.
voice to go that low. All right. I'm gonna start recording. Phil, are you? Sorry, I gotta get used to this. Pagan Tech, are you recording yet?
Absolutely.
he's been
Okay,
recording
well,
for the past
go
like
ahead
10
and
minutes. I
fire
think.
Yeah,
it up
you're
here.
right. Was I streaming?
Okay.
No,
Right up.
I was recording.
I just for legal and technical purposes, I am recording, and this is take one. Eh? All right.
Clack.
Okay, let's see. What time is it? It is 7:27. Okay, so we'll see if we can't do like an hour or so here. So, greetings, everybody. This is Tom, and along with me, it's a little bit of a different format than we're used to. Along with me on this ride, we have, and I'm just looking at my screen here, so I'm going to go clockwise. We have the Green Bear in his bear den, I guess, his bear cave. He can explain that out later. Next in line, we have Pagan Tech, who is got a animes. Waving animes is up, so it's a anime character. Then there's me, and then next to me is my son, otherwise known as Jerry Formal, and he is in his. He is also in his gaming cave as well. So what we are doing here is I don't even want to call it a talk show. We will discuss topics. We will have fun. We will cut up. We will probably make rude noises and use rude language. But it's just going to be an hour's worth of fun. Now that we will be throwing topics in there. We will have discussions, and the discussions will range from computers and technology to video gaming to music, and pretty much any other topics that may come to mind. Somebody has something else that they want to discuss, they're always welcome to chuck it in there. This is being broadcast on Signal to Noise Radio, and I believe Pagan Tech, and he can go into further detail, is going to rebroadcast it at some point as well, or also broadcast it because this is being recorded, so it'll be broadcast for the first time by Pagan Tech.
That is the plan.
And he's actually, if I'm not mistaken, you were planning on video. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. I plan on broadcasting this on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/PaganTech.
Cool. And that's PAGANTEK.
Correct. I
Yes.
don't like, and I'm kind of with the providers on this. I don't like the word using the full spelling of the word TECH in usernames, because then somebody might impersonate a technician of an official company.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about that actually.
That's a
So,
good
but
point,
you've
yeah.
used Pagan Tech TEK for quite some time.
Yes. Late 90s.
Late night, yeah, that sounds about right. Yep, cool. And one of the impetus behind this really is we are all Green and Pagan Tech are both Twitch streamers. Jerry Formal will probably be a Twitch streamer before too long, and I have and I actually have an online radio station, which with a little luck somebody's listening to at this point. Or in the future, we're in the past right now. See how that works? Anyway.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm trouble.
So basically, what we're trying to do is get some more viewers for them, listeners for me, by helping each other out, by advertising for one another, getting the word out, because that's the way we would all love to do this. I don't know about you guys, but I would love to do this type of thing for a living.
Yeah.
Because
That's true.
radio, I
definitely.
love doing radio, and I know you guys love doing the streaming and the gaming and everything. And so, I think it'll just benefit all of us. So I have yacked on for quite some time now. So let's go this. We're going to do a roundtable, and everybody's going to do sort of a quick intro of themselves, a little bit of background information, and of course, plug your Twitch stream or whatever you're doing as many times as you like, because ultimately that's what we're here for. So again, we'll start at the top left corner with Green Bear. Take it away, sir.
Hey everybody, I am the Green Bear, and welcome to my strange little corner of this screen and of this little talk. Camera's on right now. This is my stream studio. I also, like you mentioned, I do stream on Twitch. Was it twitch.tv/Green Bear? I think it's how it works.
Is it Green Bear or the Green Bear?
The Green Bear. No, wait. It is the Green Bear.
I think we're getting an
Okay.
echo from somewhere. Is that from you, Tommy?
Maybe.
Check one.
I'll back my mic up a little bit here
That's
because I did move it a bit. Is it? Okay.
Apologies.
Continue on. We'll see if we still have the echo.
Check one. 1 2. I'm getting it from Tommy.
Are you?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I see it.
Okay. Well, let me. All right. Let me turn off. Let me turn off my speakers and let me throw on the headset here.
Migrate to
I can edit this
headset.
out, eh? All right. Let's see.
With his old man glasses, his chunky headset.
Shut it. Let me see. Headset mic. 2. All right. How's that?
Check 1. Still got something from you.
Nowhere
Oh.
near as bad though.
That's no. That's because I didn't do. Let me see. What's A2? That's A1 is that. So click. Okay. How's that?
Check 1.
Perfect.
No echo. Hey, you sound great.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you do.
sound really
Oh,
good.
I can't hear you guys. Damn it all.
If it's not one thing, it's another. I think he's trying to listen for us, but nobody's saying anything.
Nope.
How's it going, eh?
Oh, let's check this. Check. No, see, I can't even hear myself in here, so it is not.
We hear you fine.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Andy's gone.
Oh no!
Oh, there he is.
What's this button do? Oh ho ho! You didn't say the magic word.
No.
Face full of anime.
I see you.
It's face full of Lara.
Staring into my soul.
That is so obviously supposed to be a Lara Croft.
It's not.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I mean, it's just.
The way she's dressed, the look of her age, she's in the middle of the jungle in what looks like a crashed airplane or something. There's a nice
I know
fancy
the
house in the
microphone is
background, and
picking
she's
up
clearly
on me.
well educated.
Oh well, I thought it was a bus because I have
headset
buses.
is not a headset.
No, it's like a bus.
I thought it was. I
Could
thought
be
it
a
was like
cockpit.
I thought it was like a van or something.
I mean,
Yeah,
I do
looking
have
at it, it does look like a
Volkswagen
van,
buses.
but it could also be a cockpit of some kind.
Yeah, true. Oh, there we go.
There she goes. Ooh, now she's about to enact an unspeakable evil and release it upon the world.
Oh.
Now she's going to be invading our mind.
Yeah, but my.
Ew.
Don't do that.
I'm kind of
Put your
impressed
eye
that
out,
it picks
kid.
up the tongue. I need to work on the lighting because it's kind of pale.
Whale
I
shit.
wonder how she would sync up with the Buffy bot.
And are you guys still hearing me?
Yep.
Yes.
Not if you can hear me. Okay, good. All right, cool. Oh, Phil changed to a studio. That's awesome. All right. Well, shit. Now I can't hear you guys at all. Let me see. We're coming in. Oh, wait. A1 back on here.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
All right.
Oh,
Nope, can't hear you.
having a stroke again, I see. Oh.
Oh, Phil, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a child on a large roller coaster.
I think it's supposed to be a car, like
It
a
says
Jeep.
Sunset
Yeah.
Ride.
Yep, that fits. Is she on something? That one eye keeps twitching.
Yeah.
Now Phil's driving a car.
Oh. Oh, there we go. I like that one.
It's Phil of the future.
Ooh.
Or post-apocalypse pagan tech.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the lighting here.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Are you? And you guys are still hearing me all right?
Yep.
Is the echo back?
Check 111. 1. Check. I don't hear it, but your
Okay.
microphone is picking up something.
It is lighting up somehow.
Yeah, it is.
Well, my headset just isn't headsetting here.
It does not want the headset.
It does not. No, and that's its only purpose in life is the headset. So
It failed its headset roll.
it kind of did. So
One job,
if there's a echo, I apologize. I'll just bring the microphone back a bit. Oh, my camera turned off too. Video. There we go. There we go.
It's Tommy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So let's pick it up with Green Bear's intro. You can start your intro over again since it was so rudely interrupted.
Very.
I am the Green Bear. Welcome to my strange little corner of studio Twitchcraft, if you will. Been gaming since the 70s when I was a wee little kidlet, itty bitty thing. Not so itty bitty anymore. But yeah, I'm like everybody else here. I do stream on a Twitch. I think it's a Twitch. How does this damn progression go?
Twitch.tv /
Twitch.tv/username.
Yes, aka the Green Bear.
So twitch.tv/the Green Bear.
Yes.
Correct.
All one word. Okay.
Yes. Been gaming since I was, like I said, a little kid. These days when I stream, I tend to focus more on science fiction games than fantasy, like games like WoW and such. I'm just really terribly burnt out on. Nothing against them, I'm just not into them anymore. You'll find me far more often playing games like Destroy All Humans, Cyberpunk 2077, Warframe, and a few other things. I do a number of different kinds of streams. I'm going to be doing music, conversation. I've done ASMR in the past. I've had dinner with my viewers, just set up a couple candles, some food, and talk.
Oh, that's
which
so
is something
sweet.
you'll find out I enjoy
Nice.
quite a lot.
Where's your camera there, Hoser?
Right here.
The Tommy Hoser. There you go.
Oh.
Right there. What? Are you not seeing me? My
I was
camera's
not.
on.
It is now. I was not. Oh my!
Well, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to go counterclockwise this time. So, Jerry Formal, tell us about yourself.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Jerry. I'm not as old as the other three guys here. But I've
Get
been
off
gaming.
my lawn!
My hip.
But much like them, I've also been gaming for most of my life. Probably, well, before 10 at least, I think. I mostly play first-person shooters and everything, all that. The more common games like Stardew Valley and Minecraft, all that good stuff. Yeah. I'm not streaming yet, but I do plan on doing that relatively soon, the next few months here, I imagine. So hopefully I can get that ball rolling.
And you and your friends are administering a Minecraft server at the moment, are you not?
Yes, that is correct. We actually did a revamp recently, so the server is no longer up. But next time we do the show and the server IP is open, I will be sure to plug that.
Cool. Yeah. No, that'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That should get you guys at least a few folks hopping into your server there. Cool.
Yeah.
And you will be graduating high school in June and turning 18 before that. And
No, he's not. It's not allowed.
I know, right?
Ain't happening.
I know.
Time is a weird thing. Yeah, you know.
It is just ridiculous to me.
You turned 11 just last year.
Yeah, seriously, it feels like that. You know, you have these moments in life where it's, you know, oh, I'm not going to grow up. X, Y, and Z is not going to happen. Then you blink and, oh, you know, here I am, you know, graduating in, well, 2 months-ish. So.
Yeah, a little less than that, I think.
Yeah, a bit less than that. But.
Well, cool. Yeah, and so then obviously when you start your Twitch stream and all that stuff, we'll be able to advertise and plug it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, once you get that Minecraft server up, we will definitely plug that because that'll only help you guys get some folks onto the server there.
Yeah.
I'm going to save myself for last. So Pagan Tech, the floor is yours.
Well,
Stop
thank
playing
you.
with your eyebrows, Pagan Tech.
Yeah, it's my eyebrows are all over the place, aren't they? Of course, my eyelid is all over the place as well. This is my stroke avatar, full stronk in the house.
Full shrunk.
This avatar is actually kind of somewhat representative of one of my main characters that I play in just about every game. Igagik Jane. Jane is near and dear as coming from City of Heroes and bouncing through all the different MMO servers and even the standalone servers. Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Everything that I've played has had a Jane in it somewhere as part of her lore. And I'm sure eventually we'll get into that lore and find out a little bit more about that. I have been gaming since the late 80s. My gaming exposure as a child was stunted because I grew up on a homestead in Alaska. And that's not really conducive to computers nor electricity, really, or running water or warm outhouses. And, yeah, it's a whole story for a different time, for sure.
Maybe we'll do a whole episode about that.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's about how long it would take. But got heavily into computers and have never looked back. I personally am a systems manager or a systems engineer and built custom gaming PCs, high-end gaming PCs, which I absolutely love doing. I love working and doing the research on the latest, greatest parts and the back ends on computer games and how we can make things better and faster.
Tech porn?
Yes, I love the tech porn.
Yeah. So Pagan Tech built Green Bear, or I guess they collaborated on it, but it built him a kick-ass gaming machine. And me being who I am, I'm like, hey, what's that part? Hey, that part looks pretty cool. Hey, that's kind of neat. And I think I built a similar machine actually. So we'll have to post pictures of our systems.
Heck yeah. I was able to build my machine at the end of 2017 now, and it is still keeping up with Flight Sim 2020 and all the games that I do love. I am personally favored in Flight Sim, space flight combat, science fiction type games. I am not into the sword and sorcery games, but if the game is engaging enough, I will be glad to play it with my friends.
Yep. The same here. I am obviously into the swords and sorcery games. I love stuff like World of Warcraft and what's the that shows you how much I know. But I like the fantasy themed games, I guess. But I also love sci-fi. And again, and no matter what game it is, if my friends are in there playing, I mean, I'll hop right in there. But I'm not as big into the gaming aspect of these things as the other three are. I do love gaming, and I have gamed extensively both tabletop, RPG, and computers since I got my first Dungeons and Dragons book in like 1984, I think. It was a gift from a friend, and as Green said, I never looked back. So it's been RPG and tabletop and video games. But again, I'm not as big of a gamer as these other three are. But I do love my technology. I guess I've just I'm sorry. Peggy Tech, were you done with your little intro there? I'm sorry, I sort of stumped all over you.
Oh, it's all good. I just really wanted to end it with, uh, if you're ever in Elite Dangerous, let me know. Star Citizen, let me know. Microsoft Flight Sim, which I was very pleased to be part of the alpha in that.
Oh,
Let
very
me
good.
know. Just I am happy to get in and fly and really just enjoy that whole aspect of gaming. So.
Awesome. Well, to tell you what level of technology knowledge I'm at, the reason my damn headset wasn't working is because I had the fucking volume turned down over here on the. I forgot that there's a volume on the ear cup, and it was turned down. I was like, oh fuck.
Oh, of
The
course.
the next pair of headphones that I get for broadcast or whatever are not going to have a volume, because that has gotten me like 2 or 3 times. Like, why aren't these things working? It's because the damn volume was turned down. It's maddening.
Oh.
Let me this
Yeah,
headset.
yeah.
It has its. Oh, I've never had anything like this. Check this out. I have 2 volume controls,
Oh.
and not for this side and that side. One controls the volume I hear here. The other one, the other wheel is an equalizer between the game I'm playing and the conversation I'm having with viewers, listeners.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a razor, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
So
I
I
see
can
the
have,
logo on the side there.
I
Yeah.
can think I should hear everybody clearly. Not if I got this turned all the way down.
Yeah.
I hear the game loud as shit. Can't hear anybody. Or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got everybody nice and loud. Can't hear for a damn thing. I'm twiddling with the damn controls, trying to get the game volume up,
Well,
and no.
You saw what I was doing a few minutes ago. I was like, why isn't this thing? I'm plugging and replugging the thing, and
Yeah.
oh, man. Anyway, I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. Anyway, I'm not as big a gamer as these other guys are, but I do game on occasion. My thing though is music. I've been a music collector for most of my life. I was lucky enough to marry a woman who also collects music and has collected music for most of her life as well. We collect CDs and LPs, and I also collect reel-to-reel tapes and mini discs. If anybody remembers mini discs, I have a
Oh,
small
yes.
collection of mini discs, and it's still small because mini discs these days are freaking expensive because they don't make them anymore, and they didn't make a bunch of them to begin with. So
Right.
I mean, albums now, like blank ones, you can get a dime a dozen, but like pre-recorded albums, they're expensive. I mean, like if you want to get something from Pink Floyd, because they put all of Pink Floyd's catalog out on mini disc, like Dark Side of the Moon, their big one. It's like $300 or $400, and that's if you're getting a good deal on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I've been a computer technician support guy since about 1995 or 6, something like that. And I love hardware is my thing. I love fiddling with hardware, building computers, gadgets, the whole thing. I love it. And I do game with these. I've gamed with these guys extensively in the past. I think our big one for a while was City of Heroes. That was sort of a go-to there for a while because if anybody knows the City of Heroes game, it's such, you can be so creative in that game and do so much in that game. For a simple game, it's actually a very deep game. It's actually a lot of fun. We could probably do a whole episode, honestly, just talking about City of Heroes. But we're all, well, except for Jerry, who's a bit younger. We're all in our. I'm in my 50s, and I know Green is in his. Phil, have you hit your 50s yet?
I got about 6 months to go.
Okay, all right. So you're almost there. You're almost there.
But you and I, we started our tech careers right next to each other, I believe, because it was like
At
95,
GlobalNet,
96
right?
at
Yeah.
GlobalNet. Yeah.
Yeah. You were more on the. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You were more on the server end, and I was more on the support end. Is that right? Is that what you were doing?
I think, well, originally I was the support, and then we folded into GlobalNet, and we brought on more support technicians, and then I moved over to HTML and the web design.
That's right.
Kind of the
web. That's right.
creative.
That's right.
I guess I'm more on the creative side of technology.
Yeah. You were web. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. That was like 95 or 96, something like that. Yeah, that was way back in the day. Yeah. I went through a streak there where I worked for a company, a tech company, and it closed down. And me and these two guys went to another place, and it closed down. And then we ended up at GlobalNet, and GlobalNet eventually closed down.
Yeah.
So we were like the angels of death for tech companies there for a while.
Yeah, I did a mom and pop store downtown, and it closed down. And then I went to GlobalNet, and it closed down. And then I did MSP, and it closed down.
Yeah, I work with a guy now who's 23, and I said yesterday, this is my first week here at this place, but I said, yeah, I started my support career at a dial-up ISP, and he looked at me like, what? I said, have you never had to dial into an internet server before? He said, no. Oh my Lord. Oh, my sweet summer child.
Oh yeah, that was back in the day when they upgraded all the 14.4 modems to 33.6 modems and passed them all out to us technicians. You remember that? We got 14.4 modems.
Oh yeah. Holy crap, 14.4. And we used to love to torture Mike's. I probably should. I'm going to say his name. We used to love to torture Mike Swim because he was a server guy, and he was like in the office around the corner from my cube. And anytime there was a problem, I'd stick my head around the corner. Hey, Mike, is Daytona down? Now, for the first few months, he was just like, no, it's fine, or oh yes, it is down, or oh yes, we have to reboot this. But eventually, he'd just scream at me, Daytona is not down.
Yeah, Mike and I, we were the technicians, and it was me and him and one other server guy, and then they got bought out and turned into GlobalNet.
Yep, and then GlobalNet eventually, some people stole all the money and buggered off to Canada, and we were all out of a job.
Oh, he went to France.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah.
I thought he went to Canada. Oh.
He went to France, and then when he got back into Florida a few years later, he got arrested for something entirely different, and he ended up in like Tennessee or something, shunned by the community. It was hilarious.
Lovely.
Yeah, I don't. Ended up in Tennessee is kind of a fate worse than death. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Right. So I think. So real quick, we'll do plugs. So my online radio station is stnradio.com. I broadcast right now I broadcast Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And it's not like 24 hours or anything. I haven't quite gotten to that elite level yet. But if you go to stnradio.com, not only can you, when I'm broadcasting, you can listen there, but the schedule is listed there as well. So again, Jerry is not Twitch streaming quite yet, but you will let us know when you get the latest iteration of that server up and running, right?
Yep.
Cool. So Green, what is now or what is going to be your Twitch schedule?
Well, in light of some recent stuff, my schedule is going to be changing. It's going to be a little bit different from what I have listed on my Twitch page.
Okay.
I know with what we are doing with this, it is going to influence the schedule and what I plan to be doing.
Okay.
But as far as what actual types of streams I'm going to be doing, my mainstay when I'm not actually streaming is Warframe. I'm a huge, massive Warframe player. Warframe and City of Heroes are my two go-to games right now. Other kinds of streams I'm going to be doing, I'm planning to start doing VR streams on Thursdays.
Cool. Okay.
I'm going to call them like VRSD Thursday. See what I did there?
Okay, Thursday, yes.
Thursday, yeah, okay.
Okay, VRSDAY.
Yes, I'm going to start doing Thursday streams. I'm also planning to do some musical streams. I have a number of drums. I'm a percussionist. Background in all kinds of drums, but about 91, I got into Middle Eastern drumming, so I have a number of hand drums that I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be hopefully Pagan Tech is going to be getting over here sometime. Once things have slowed down with me, I had a recent neck injury, so I'm having to deal with some issues with my hands. Kind of important for drumming.
I was about to say it's kind of important when you're doing hand drumming.
Yeah. So once this clears up a little bit more, I'm gonna see if I can get Pagan Tech to come over here, and I'm going to abscond with him for a few hours, and we're going to look at some microphones and getting things set up in here to do some music streams.
Excellent.
and pretty much every kind. But I plan to do a number of other kinds of streaming as well. But that's
Make sure you get yourself a good area mic and suspend it from the ceiling.
that's
I'm not even joking. I mean, that's probably the way to go, is to get a good area mic and suspend it above you.
there is. I've also seen some other people who use 2 smaller mics underneath it because that's where the resonance of the
Well,
the
that's
metal
true
hits.
too. Yeah, that's true. Well, you might want to experiment around then.
I plan to.
Yeah.
And above the blah. When it comes to the halo drum, the hang drum, that's really where the 2 mics go on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And above one for like the Doombek and the djembe and all those,
Right.
most definitely would be better above. But if you put those above the hang drum, you end up hearing the hand hitting the drum as much as you end up hearing the note from the drum.
Okay. All right. Well.
So
Okay. Well, you would know better than me. I don't own a hang drum, nor have I ever played one, or a hung drum. I guess.
Yeah, as soon as I get over there, I will definitely sit down and discuss your microphone options and discuss what sound you really want to put out, because that's really ultimately what leads us to our microphone setup.
Yes.
And if I can interject something about VR, I think we should have a stream of me playing Drunken Bar Fight, and not actually the footage from Drunken Bar Fight, but my dumbass flailing around the living room playing Drunken Bar Fight, because I'm sure it's freaking hilarious. But that's
It is.
or have like a split screen. One side is the actual VR view that I'm seeing, and then the other split is me flailing around like an idiot in my living room upstairs.
Falling over.
Yeah, exactly. That would be funny.
Tonight is Drunken Bar Fight, and later
Phil.
we'll get in VR.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're going to get into VR. So Phil, plug your Twitter channel, or Twitch channel.
Twitch, yes.
Yes, Twitter channel.
Twitter, yes, that
Twitch.
would be, yeah, okay.
And
the twitch.tv/Pagantech. And I am really not committed to any particular set routine yet. Usually it's at least once or twice on the weekends and 2 or 3 times during the week. It's really whenever I can scrape up the time to do it, because very active, have kids, am married, things like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so life tends to take a little bit more precedence than what I would like to do with Twitch. But that's PAGANTEK after twitch.tv.
Okay. And then that was twitch.tv/the Green Bear, all one word. Correct?
Now you're going to make me have to go look.
Making you do some research, mister.
Oh, blast.
Oh, no.
Not that. Anything but that.
Oh.
I can't brain. I have the dumb. Okay, well, while he's looking that up, I like your Starfield background there. That's nice.
It is the Green Bear.
The Green Bear. Okay, cool. Good. Twitch.tv/the Green Bear.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. That's kind of what I thought, but now we know for sure. So let's do this. Pagantech, you were wanting to discuss procedurally generated gaming worlds versus pre-programmed gaming worlds, if I have my phraseology right.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Well, take it away. This is not my area of expertise, but I will add my 2 cents where I can. How about that?
No problem. Actually, I'm just going to cover a little bit of the basics and get into some of the things that I've noticed and did a little bit of research on. But really, I want to talk about and get feedback from everybody on your experiences and what do you prefer. So procedural generation is really...
Can I ask a question real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, and I'm just trying to get it right in my head. So a procedurally generated game is No Man's Sky. And a Skyrim, for example, is a pre-programmed gaming world. Am I correct in that?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
No, No Man's Sky, procedurally generated?
Yes.
Okay, and Skyrim is pre-programmed.
Yes, to a point.
Like, I don't want to say static, but it is kind of a static world. In other words, when you go here and you go there, those things aren't generated on the fly. They already exist. They just are pulled up from
correct
whatever magical realm they're stored in. Okay, so sorry to interrupt. So
no worries. The deep dive into procedural generation actually turned up a little bit more data than I was anticipating. Some of it I knew, some of it I didn't. Procedural generation has been around longer than I thought. Procedural generation was first widely used in a small game called Elite back in the 80s. Matter of fact, I think it was 84 when it was released.
Wow.
It was the precursor to Elite Dangerous. Elite
Ah,
Dangerous would be version 4. This was programmed and took up 22K of memory to run this entire game. It's absolutely amazing. It contained 8 galaxies. Each of the galaxies had 256 planets to explore, and this was all done on 8-bit computers. So what happened was, is a single seed was run through an algorithm a certain amount of times and created a sequence of numbers that determined the planet's complete composition, which was the position of the galaxy, prices of commodities that were on the planet, names and local details, text strings chosen numerically from the lookup tables and assembled to produce unique descriptions, such as a planet that actually had carnivorous art graduates.
Okay.
that's pretty awesome.
Fortunately, with this introduction of procedural generation, it meant that no extra memory was really needed to store the characteristics of the planet. All you had to do was store the number or the seed for that particular planet and run it through the algorithm, and it would output exactly what you wanted and would be the same because the seed was the same. The algorithm would spit out the same information. When they were doing their final checks, they noticed that they wanted to make sure some of the system names were not profane. They ended up removing an entire galaxy equation. They found a planet named Arse.
Yes.
Oh man, I want to live on the planet Arse. Come
Yeah,
on.
I know, right? Elite Dangerous has spawned several sequels. The current iteration is Elite has spawned several sequels. The current iteration is Elite Dangerous. It is number 4. Crowdsourced back in 2012, released in 2014. That is procedural generation done at a level of 400 billion stars
Wow.
with planets in correct rotation with moons and on the planets or surfaces. It's all algorithmically based. So
That's nutty.
the details of one planet would look exactly the same from computer to computer because the equation is the same.
Ah, that's cool. So in effect, you are exploring or have the ability to explore / discover the actual same planet as somebody else playing the game.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very cool.
And
Very cool.
because that's running through this equation that's the same across computers, it actually is an MMO. So multiple
Oh, yeah, okay.
individuals, I think up to 64 people in each instance, can visit the same planet. They'll see the same thing. The terrain will be the same. Everything will be the same for each of the players because the seed is the same. And each item would have a seed, like the station would be a seed, and then the planet would be a seed, and the system would be a seed, and things like that. So that's how that data would transmit from location to location, from computer to computer, would be just all you'd have to do is send that seed. Now, a lot of people are more familiar with the use of seed in generating Minecraft worlds.
Mhm.
When you
That is
That's
generate,
correct.
where I'm
Yes.
familiar with it. Yeah.
that's
Yes.
what that is. Minecraft is a procedurally generation engine. You
That
get a
was going to
seed.
actually be a question I was going to ask if Minecraft was considered procedurally generated. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All the different portions of it are all controlled by the master equation, and then the master equation gets a seed, and then the seed, the world generates based off of that seed. And it's going to look the same, so that's why we can share seeds and get the same output.
Very cool. Very cool.
Pers-
So then you're like, so I guess World of Warcraft, for example, it's an MMO, but it is everything. I don't want to say prefab. It's they create these zones / whatever you want to call them, and they're pretty static until and if another update comes out and changes things. So that's not a procedurally generated game. Is that correct?
That's
Correct.
correct. They're handcrafted games.
Yeah.
A great example, since we're in the world of procedural generation, that's the go-to game crafting. Subnautica. I don't know if anybody's played Subnautica. Everybody was amazed at how wonderful Subnautica was, and it wasn't procedurally generated. It was handcrafted. Everything was placed by the creators, and it took a little extra time. It does take a little extra time because it has to be handcrafted. Instead of programming the equation, they actually built the world.
Wow.
Fallout's like that. There's a lot of games that are like that, but then they start throwing in procedural generation that you don't notice. Borderlands is a good example. Borderlands has a landscape that is handcrafted, but the weapon system is procedurally generated.
Oh, so it's kind of a hybrid then.
Yes, all the guns, all the different types of guns, what they do, their looks, everything about them is procedural generation. And it's just a seed that gets rolled, and you get a random seed, and guess what? It spits out a gun. And they do that in all different types of games that you won't even notice. Monster generation. Random monster generation can be procedurally generated because it has a set table of attributes, and it'll spit out based off of whatever random seed it rolls. And that's something that a lot of people don't get a chance to see, is how procedural generation affects them and their gameplay. And I think that's absolutely amazing to be able to say, I can craft a game that is very small. I think No Man's Sky is only 5 to 7 gigs. And
yeah, it's
has
not very big, as I recall.
Yeah, it has 18 quintillion planets.
And only, I would imagine, a fraction of a percent of those have been discovered at this point.
Yes. If a new planet in No Man's Sky was discovered every second, it would take 584 billion years for them to be all discovered.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Wow.
And that's all equation. That entire thing is just equation. And then what they'll do is they'll release an update, and we've modified the equation just a touch, and suddenly the planet that you've had your base on is changed.
Mm-hmm.
The ship that you like is changed. The ships are procedurally generated. The guns are procedurally generated. Your character is procedurally generated. Everything is. So the different layers of the game, not just what you're seeing, but how they act. When we were playing together and we went on the abandoned freighters.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was, the story was procedurally generated. The text was procedurally generated. Everything was procedurally generated.
See, that to me, that is just, it might as well be magic, because one part of technology that I've just never really, well, first of all, I don't have the attention span for it, but coding of any sort, it might as well be magic. I mean, honestly, that sort of stuff just blows my mind, and it's kind of nice it's kind of nice not seeing behind that curtain sometimes, because then the magic is still there for you, or for me anyway. But I'm easily amused, so
yeah. There was an article that was written in Rolling Stone's, researcher by the name of Mike Cook. He described procedural generation as it's a bit like leaving your game incomplete and then teaching the software to finish designing itself while someone's playing it.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. So our favorite game. Okay, well now going off on, I know Green loves was it Warframe? Warframe, is it procedurally generated? Any of it procedurally generated, or is it static, or what's the deal with it? Or maybe it's a hybrid. I don't know.
I was actually going to ask Pig and Tech that myself. There are aspects of Warframe that are definitely pre-rendered, pre-generated,
Pre-built, maybe.
Well, no, Pig and Tech has played with me a little bit.
Handcrafted, I guess, would be a good term.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's always there. It always stays the same. But when you go on missions, depending on the mission type, let's say you're going to go raid a ship. The ship has X number of rooms, depending on on how big things are. Probably when we face this. The ship has X number of rooms, and each of these rooms is always going to be the same. But the arrangement of those rooms when you enter a ship is different every time. So you don't come in this door and know, okay, we got to go 2 rooms over and 2 doors down, kill the guard, go to the next room, and blah, blah, blah. Because the next time it might be a completely different path to get there. Even though it's the same rooms, they are put in different order. So you never have quite that same feeling of, oh, we have done this particular mission again.
Yeah.
It might be the same mission, but the arrangement of things, the arrangement of things on the ship is going to be different. And that does allow that aspect of the game to maintain a degree of freshness to it. Now, if you're like me, as you learn the rooms, you just kind of go, okay, well, I know where to get. I know where this room goes. I know where that room goes. Well, you may know where this room will lead you, but you may get to a closed door this time, as opposed to another part of the ship.
Yeah.
And then other places, such as like the plains of Eidolon and such, when you get to them, that is a static world.
Yes.
That's a handcrafted area. That mountain is always going to be right there. That ship is always going to be right there. That base is always going to be right there. But you never know where the
Spawn points.
the crews. Yes, you don't know where the spawn points are, and that is one thing I will admit that Warframe is a little grindy. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's very grindy.
Mhm.
But Warframe in this aspect, I know that they did deliberately do it so the rooms change order in order to keep that feeling down. But like anything else, after a while, it still becomes a grind. But Warframe always struck me more as, what can we do to make a grind fun?
A little less grindy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that's in stark contrast to like World of Warcraft. And I go back to World of Warcraft because I've played it on and on. Well, I played was it the real RTS? Yeah, I played the RTS games back in the day, and then when World of Warcraft came out, I played it for like 5 years. I've played it on and off ever since. But this is one aspect of WoW that I never really got into, and I'm pretty sure I know why. But you always hear of these guilds going on raids and raiding this and doing this and doing particular dungeons. Those things are static. Now the monsters in there, the NPCs, the bad guys, the mobs, they may drop different loot, but that just pulls from a database. Says, okay, this monster has this percentage chance of dropping this percentage chance, blah blah blah. So they'll go through a dungeon or they'll go through a raid, and certain things will drop, and then they're like, okay, well, we're gonna do it again tomorrow or do it again in 2 days or whatever, because sometimes those dungeons and those raids, it sometimes takes them X number of days to reset because they don't want somebody rating the thing every night for the crown of total awesomeness and game winningness.
Right.
So they have to put it on a timer and all this stuff, and they give it like a 0.2% chance to drop that particular loot and all this stuff.
It sounds
and that's
like
just like super grindy for me, and that just doesn't sound like fun to me.
Yeah, it sounds
doing
like
the same
they're
thing over and
playing
over.
dice rolls and not doing procedural generation.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, it is, because so you could attack this monster in a raid, and it'll drop the shoes of walking slow, and all they do is slow your movement down by 10%. But that same monster has a chance, like a 1% chance of dropping the sword of Damocles or something. So they go over and over until they get the sword of Damocles to drop, until it drops, and whoever needs it gets it, and then somebody else in the guild needs it as well, so then they'll do it again over and over again. And that just doesn't, as much as I love playing WoW, that aspect of it just never really appealed to me.
Yeah, I fully get you, and that does feel scripted, and it does feel handcrafted, and then it sounds like the rest of it is just dice rolls against a database.
Basically, yeah. And another thing too, it's a time sink too, because some of these dungeons, you're not in and out of there in like a half an hour. Sometimes they're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours it takes to do these things.
Yeah.
And then, okay, well, 8 o'clock tomorrow, we're raiding again, and it's like, Jesus Christ, I've got a life I need to lead here. I can't be, but for some people, that is their outlet and that is their thing. And hey, more power to them. It's just not my cup of tea, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Say I get, and Green can attest to this. I get, and no matter the game, I get a bad case of altitis. I'll play a character for a while, and then this guy, this power set looks pretty cool. Oh, this thief armor looks cool. Let me, So then I'll play that one for a while, and either I'll get bored or see somebody else in the game and go, hey, you know what? That wizard guy, he's pretty darn cool. I think I'll play a wizard now. So I end up with 14 mid-level characters on the same server. Not one of them top level. Of course,
Right. Yeah.
But
sounds
that was
like...
one of the fun things about here was it City of Heroes too. It's so fun to create the characters, and there's just so much you could do with the characters that you would never get bored with it.
Yeah, but going into the missions as you were progressing through the characters in City of Heroes, we still found that it was scripted, that it was handcrafted, because we're playing it differently. The game is not doing it differently, but we're playing it differently because we have different power pools, we have different sets.
Yeah.
And that's what made it interesting enough. It wasn't that
keeps it fresh.
Right. It wasn't being fresh. It was we're making it fresh by using the mechanics in our advantage. How about you, Drew?
Like, here's the layer cake level again.
Yeah.
But I went through it with a tanker last time, and this time I'm with the range damage. Or scrapper or whatever. Yeah.
How about you, Drew? Have you seen?
I think.
Jerry, have you seen any procedural generations that really have reached out and smacked you? That hey, this is definitely less grindy because of math.
There's actually a really cool game that I found recently that like the core mechanic of the game is procedurally generated weapons. It's called 1 Million Fatal Guns, I think. It's on Steam. So you have, all these different weapon types: assault rifles, shotguns, pistols, miniguns, all that kind of crazy stuff. But, there's different rarities, there's different element types, explosive, frozen, whatever. Different abilities, such as one of them is a Spider Queen, where instead of shooting actual bullets, it shoots explosive spiders or something.
Wow.
And there's one that shoots plasma balls or whatever. But according to the game's page list, there's 30 million different combinations of weapons, and every single run is different. There's different monsters to fight, there's rooms to go through, but yeah, that's one of the prime examples of procedural generation I found in games, and it's quite frankly very enjoyable.
Cool.
So the world that you are, I guess, fighting in or over or whatever, is that handcrafted or is that procedural too, or do you know?
The levels themselves are handcrafted, but every run is different. You'll get the rooms are the same, but they are in different orders every single run.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
It sounds like it's just another use of procedural generation. You're not procedurally generating the world that you're in, but you're procedurally generating aspects of the gameplay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very cool.
Well, that's what I've got, and hopefully this kind of pulls the curtain back a little bit into your gameplay, so you can appreciate it a little bit more and what you're actually experiencing.
Yeah.
I find it amazing that the first Elite was run on 22K. That's just astounding to me.
The runtime had a footprint of 22K. Yeah.
So it was that a text game, or was it surely it was a text game?
Nope, it was graphics.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Now it was shipped on a floppy or two, but it was. They said they were able to get it to fit into 22K of memory. So basically, that's the runtime.
Oh, memory. Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, and it loaded it into high memory. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, but still, that's just crazy to me. Well, that was actually super interesting. I appreciate your knowledge on that. Yeah, that was super cool. And I think I knew at some point somewhere in the foggy past. I think I knew that Minecraft was procedurally generated. So like all the recipes are fairly static. The weapons, the tools are all fairly static. And you can craft a ton of stuff in there now. But the world itself is procedurally generated.
Yes.
In other words, it generates as you go along.
Yes.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. I didn't get my mute button quick enough. Cool. All right. Well, I think at this juncture, I'm going to call a break. I have to hit the facilities, and then we will come back and we will either we can wrap it up because we've been going a good while, or we can hop into our second topic, and then I can either make one show or two shows out of it. We good?
I'm good.
All
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a pause right now. I'll be right back.
I'm going to do likewise.
Oh, and apologies for starting an hour late. It actually kind of worked out because Green needed to get some food anyway. So it actually 7 o'clock kind of actually worked out. Normally I would have said 6, but say Patty got her treatment today, and I needed to run out and get food, and then of course we had to eat said food. So
How is she doing, by the way?
Well, this is her 4th round. I think this was the last treatment in her 4th round of chemo. She is going, believe it or not, she's flying to Green Bay, Wisconsin, Saturday to visit a friend of hers for a few days. And then she's got a scan. She gets back on Thursday. She's got like an MRI or whatever they do on that Friday to see how everything is progressing or hopefully regressing. But yeah, overall she's doing pretty well. She's still got a great attitude about it. The chemo treatments really knock her out. They really make her tired and lethargic and all. And she does a lot of napping on the couch, but that's fine. Being in such close contacts to in such close contact to Keelings, she's going to be a lazy slug anyway. So I mean, something you can do about it. But no, she just naps a lot, and but yeah, otherwise she's doing really well.
That's good to hear.
So we'll get the report on the scans, a few days after she gets her scans, and then the doctors will just decide what to do from there. Another round of chemo or whatever. So it's always just a wait and see type of a thing. But all right, so let's move along to the second topic of the evening, and that is music in video games / movies. I think if we want to include the world of movies as well, that's a whole. Okay, very cool. Well, this was your topic, so Green Bear, the floor is yours. No, talk, eh? Talk, hoser. Yes.
Because floor's right there.
This is radio, eh? They can't see you looking at the floor.
Oh.
Take off.
For some, it's radio.
Well, true. Good point.
Okay. See, God, where to begin on all this? I think.
You?
I'm trying to figure out where to start.
Is that where they're smoking in the
Probably
room?
started in the mid-1970s. I got to go to see Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That movie, it was one of the first movies I got to go see without Mom and Dad coming along.
Ooh.
And hold on, I want to move this so I can look at the camera. Here we go. It was one of the first movies I got to see without Mom and Dad. I went to go watch it with a couple of friends of mine. And again, no chaperones. They just all dropped us all off at the theater, and there we went. That movie explores the power of music tonality. If you've ever seen it, no one will ever forget the musical fight at the end, so to speak. It was really more of a musical jam between the mothership and the humans trying to establish a mutual communication between them. That whole thing had an extraordinarily profound effect on me. And that was the movie, I think, that made me aware in my little brain of just how powerful music could become. Just what it could do beyond just being nice to listen to and something really cool to hear. So a few years later, along comes the Atari 2600 and all the games that came with it. A couple of the games really made an impact on me, despite the really 4-bit graphics. It was just ridiculous. I mean, like games like Adventure, where your character is nothing but a block with an arrangement of blocks in front of it, and that's supposed to be your knight and your sword, and dragons that look like ducks with curly tails. There was something about the victory sound effects used at the end of that really felt good. And then there was Haunted House. Haunted House, like Adventure, didn't have a lot of music to it, but its sound effects really played with you. There was thunder, there was lightning. In fact, those were two aspects of the game that really played into it. But it wasn't until I got into, Tommy, you'll remember this, my old Atari 400.
Yeah.
There was a game on there, um, thing called, oh yeah, Mountain King. Simple arcade adventure game. But it used the Pure Gent Suite, aka Hall of the Mountain King. Whenever there was danger coming, you'd hear a couple of notes from it. And then gradually, as the giant spider, if you've ever played the game, you'll know how terrifying that damn thing was, comes along and gets you in its web, but the music is playing during this encounter. It wasn't until I got up to my more serious Atari computers that I played a game called Alternate Reality. Alternate Reality had its own theme song. I mean, this surprised me. This was the first time I ever encountered it in a game.
Which Atari
Alternate
was
Reality.
this on?
I'm sorry?
Which Atari system was this on?
This was on the, I believe if you had a disk drive at the time for it,
Yeah.
I think it was on, you could get it on the 800, but I got it on my Atari ST.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I forgot about the ST. Yeah.
I think my first was the 520 ST. But it had there was a bar. It was the first world that I ever played that actually was alive. In that if you go into the bar, there are musicians, and there's a fully realized song that brings you into the game world. There was a song called The Devourer. There was another one about a bard. But you started identifying the music. The moment you heard the first couple strings, you're like, oh, that's it. I know that game. Same with the opening theme for there was Alternate Reality, and then Alternate Reality 2 was called The Dungeon. But the music really stood out. Now, after Alternate Reality, there was a game called Captain Blood. And I think this game is cursed, or the efforts to make a fully realized good version of the game is cursed. Captain Blood featured music by, I don't know if you may or may not have heard of this guy. I know, Tommy, you have. Jean-Michel Jarre.
I've got two or three of his LPs actually.
And I'm heading in that direction too. They used a piece called Zoologology, I think it was. But that was the first time I ever played a game and just had to stop and just oh my god, I didn't give a fuck about the game anymore.
Did they use actual clips of his music then?
Yes, it was. It was off the album.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's cool.
And
Sorry, I hit a button on my mouse.
I had heard of Jean-Michel Jarre, but I only knew him by one or two pieces. And when I first played Captain Blood, it was the first time it just stopped me in my tracks, and I had to just listen. I didn't care about the game. I didn't want to play the game. I want to hear this. I wanted to watch just the opening credits. And that is what I did the first time I saw the first Superman movie. When that thing came out, as soon as I watched the movie, I think this is probably where I got into the habit of sitting through the end credits and listening to the music. Because when it finally made it to HBO, back in the late 70s, early 80s,
yeah.
Anytime I knew that movie was coming on, same with heavy metal. Anytime I knew that movie was coming on, and there was another movie. It was I can't remember the composer's name, but he's one of those great composers like John Williams and all those guys. But anytime I knew one of these three movies was going to come on, I was there at least 15 minutes before it started because I had to hear that opening music.
The music, yeah.
And when I watched every time, without fail, every time I ever watched Superman was just really sticks in my mind because it was the first music in media, I guess, that ever totally consumed me to that degree.
Well, did Jerry Horner do the music for Superman, or was it? I can't remember. I'd have to Wikipedia it, I guess. But the Superman theme from the first Chris Reeves Superman movie, which was what 78, 9, something like that, 80
I think
maybe.
it may have been 77. No, it wasn't 80. It may have been 78, right around
Yeah,
there.
it was like right in there. Yeah, that is still an iconic piece of movie music. I mean, to
Absolutely.
this day, if you hear those first few bars of that song, you're like, "Oh, hey, that's a Superman theme." I mean, everybody
Yep.
knows it right away.
Absolutely.
Going back to like or like Close Encounters. There is the if you've never really listened to the soundtrack, there are certain things that when I hear the music, and Close Encounter does this. This was the first movie to do it to me. I could listen to the soundtrack and replay the entire movie in my head, all of it, every bit. I knew the dialogue. I knew this. Oh, that's where they were climbing up the side of the mountain. Oh, that's where the government was chasing them. But all of these things created a very distinct. They all carved. They didn't create. They carved a groove in my brain about it. And it just over the years has absolutely obsessed me. I've become obsessed with it. Some more recent games that have done that are, of course, Warframe. Warframe takes like tribal drumming, or like I'm sorry, taiko drumming, and has a distinct Japanese samurai old type flair to it.
That was actually John Williams that did the Superman.
John Williams?
Music. Yeah, it was John Williams. Yeah.
Oh, it was James Horner that did Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yeah, James Horner.
That was a big one for me too.
Yeah.
Of course, it was John
I had
Williams.
a couple years ago. What's that?
Of course, it was John Williams.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That man is
course.
awesome.
Yes.
There's so many movies out there owe their success to him, as far as I'm. Oh, let's see. Oh, back in the '90s, back in the '90s when the PlayStation 1 came out, there had never been anything like it. This was when they first began to discover that video games can actually be legitimately addictive. The PlayStation, being on a CD format as opposed to the cartridges like Nintendo was using, could put live music on the disc. You could actually take your PlayStation 1 discs and put them in a regular CD player, skip the first track unless you want to find out what it sounds like inside an electric hedge trimmer. Skip
Which,
that
by
first
the
track.
way, you do not want to know.
No. Not at all.
No.
But all of that music in the game was on the disc. A lot of people never really tried it, but it was one of the first things I did was, oh my God, this disc is black. I need to find out what's going on. So I put it in the CD player and heard the hedge trimmer and screamed and banged my head on the wall and went, skip. And the music kicked in. It was glorious. It was so amazing. So a couple of years, at this time, Mortal Kombat had been out for a while, and Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 3 had just recently been out. And at that time, there were so many other fighting games, and everybody knows Mortal Kombat and the ensuing music.
No, I won't do it. I was going to do it. I won't do it.
About.
Well, you hear it, and just that it gets you excited thinking about it.
Yeah.
There was another game at the time called Primal Rage. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
Primal, and instead of people fighting, it's dinosaurs fighting.
Yeah.
That was on the Atari, right?
No, this was on the. It came out on multiple formats. They didn't. I wish they'd had it on the Atari Jaguar, but they didn't.
The Jaguar. That's what I was thinking. It was on. Okay.
Yeah. They might have. I don't think they did.
Yeah.
But there was. Excuse me. With Primal Rage was one of the launch titles that came out for the PlayStation 1. I really dug it. I liked the music for it, and I've still got it around here. It is one of my prized OG gamer possessions. There was a coupon, a little bitty coupon, not big at all, that said if you like the soundtrack, call this number to order your own copy of the soundtrack to Primal Rage. So I called, and my mom got it for me as a birthday present. I called, and not only did I place my order, the producer, writer, the person who made the soundtrack answered the phone.
Oh.
No way. Oh, that's
Yes.
awesome.
And I forget her name, but we ended up. She mentioned, she said something, and it triggered me, and I made an offhand comment about um, how the music really enhanced the experience. And that's when she kind of said, "Oh, really? So you like the She didn't tell me who she was at first. She just kind of said, "So you like the music, huh?" I said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And we talked for a little while and a little bit, and we ended up being on the phone. It was an 800 number. We were on the phone for like half an hour, and that's about the time she revealed to me who she was. She was the writer, not the writer. That I forget the word.
Composer?
Composer.
Composer. Thank you. She's the one who actually wrote it, and she actually autographed the CD for me.
Nice.
All
And she
right.
autographed it to
That's
Alan,
awesome.
someone who really appreciates music. And she and I talked about, like actually Superman. We talked about just how when you hear that iconic dun 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 dun, you get goosebumps. You hear and you see that that stylized opening lettering, and it completely it overrides you in a most wonderful way, I think.
Well, along those lines, if you guys remember in 1996, the game Quake.
Oh yeah.
So Nine Inch Nails / Trent Reznor, at the time, Nine Inch Nails was just Trent Reznor. That was all. He did the soundtrack to Quake, opening theme or whatever. So fast forward to last year, he released the soundtrack to Quake on vinyl, and I pre-ordered it. And I got the thing in, and I was talking to somebody online, and they were like, "Why didn't you ever just throw the CD into your CD player to play that music?" And I'm like, "Well, A, it never occurred to me because it was a game; it wasn't a music CD." But it's just, I guess it's just not anything that ever occurred to me. I mean, I enjoyed the music well enough, and so I got this. I've got the LP, and I've listened to it a couple times. It's 2 or 3 or 4 songs, and the rest of it is a lot of, because it's all synthesizer. It's all, atmospheric type stuff, and because Quake was a very atmospheric game. But yeah, so the game came out in 1996, and then 20 what 4 5 years later almost, he finally puts out an official soundtrack to it. Whereas apparently I could have just thrown the damn CD into a CD player at any time, skipped to track 2 and listened to the thing. But yeah, what do I know?
Yep.
I guess. But going on the movie, when you were talking about movies, another iconic movie that I think the soundtrack actually boosted the movie receipts, and vice versa, most likely, is Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Fever, rather.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was right like in the heyday of disco. So that was what, 77 or 78, I guess, when that came out. And it's a fantastic soundtrack. Now, of course, you have to somewhat like disco because it's all disco music. There's some great, great music on there, though. And that soundtrack was every bit as huge as that movie was. And I think they sort of boosted each other. People saw the movie and are like, "Oh man, I got to get the soundtrack." People went home and listened to the soundtrack and had friends over, and it's like, "Damn, I got to go see that movie." So I think they just basically fed off of each other, because
Yep.
I say the movie was huge, but the soundtrack was huge as well. And I got a copy of that for Christmas in probably 1977 or 78, and I still got it in the other room. It's all beat to hell, but I still got my original copy of it. But something else occurred to me too. I don't quite remember. Oh, the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. I mean, on Signal to Noise, we do dance music on Saturday nights, and when you think techno, when you think 90s, I mean, invariably that soundtrack is going to come up. A couple, 2 Unlimited, that group is going to come up and people are going to remember them. But yeah, the Mortal Kombat theme, like that's like your classic 90s techno. And the whole album is actually there's one song on there that is just a clunker. And I can't remember what it is. I'd have to look at the CD. But the whole soundtrack is just fantastic. It's just really great. I mean, I could just put that thing on there and walk away because like all the music is good. Except there's one song on there that's not great, but yeah. And I mean, when you think 90s techno, that's going to be close to the top of the list. I mean, honestly.
I remember one year we went to Mock. This was would have been about 93 or 4. And
by the way,
Mortal Kombat,
MOC is short for Magnum Opus Con, which was a sci-fi fantasy convention back in the early 90s, early to mid 90s.
Started in the late 80s.
Yeah.
But it was 89 was the first time I went to it. No, it was 88 was the first time I went to a convention, and it was Mock. And you were the one who convinced me to go to my first.
Yeah, because the first one I went to was the year before that, the year before I graduated from high school, actually. And then I said, "This is awesome. We all have to go." And I drug you along, and I don't remember who else came with us, but I know it was the 2 of us. Tim didn't come with us. Who else came? It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. There was one night it was maybe at this point it was maybe my second or third Mock. But on not Saturday night, on Friday night, Saturday night. No, it was Friday nights. Friday nights, they at about 10 o'clock, they had a dance.
Yeah.
And I remember I was one of those guys on the side just going, I want to get out there. I want to go out there and have fun. And then they played the title cut from Mortal Kombat. And I was like, oh my God, I go out there. And I just ran out there and made a complete idiot of myself until about 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they played all of the soundtrack. They played all of there was the Immortals soundtrack, which was the version with all the theme songs of the characters.
The Immortals theme song, the Immortals soundtrack is the one I'm thinking of. I've got it over there. One of the songs on there is just atrocious, but the rest of them are great, actually.
Yeah, there's a couple there that I will. Really, there's only one I'll go skip.
Which one is it? Do you remember?
Yes, it's Goro's thing.
Yeah, exactly the one I was thinking about. It's so bad. Yeah.
Just
exactly
the fact that the announcers got the lore wrong, half human, half dragon.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
No,
neither. Neither. You're a
so
poser.
Yeah. I played the whole soundtrack on Signal to Noise one night. I think it was like, Soundtrack Tuesday or something. And I'd play a couple songs and talk, and that one played and it finished. And I was like, well, I probably will be playing that one again on the station. So let me just apologize. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I get into that one and go, skip.
Click. Yeah, skip for sure. No.
Skip. Not
Next
doing
track.
That one.
Yep.
Now, the movie sound, of course, the movie didn't come out until about 95, I think. 95 or 96.
That sounds about right.
I think it was late 95. It was 96. It was 96 because I was already working at the radio station. So it's been interesting. I was having a conversation the other day about how video games have finally begun to really work themselves into not just the public awareness, but into the cultural awareness too. Case in point. In 1980, I want to say it was 4, maybe 5, Buckner and Garcia released Pac-Man Fever.
Oh, yeah.
And to my knowledge, that was the first time video games were presented in pop culture. That album, still today, I mean, it's product of the 80s. I still love it. In fact, if you ever saw Wreck-It Ralph, you heard some of those guys do it. The guys that did Pac-Man Fever, Buckner and Garcia, got together and they did Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Wow.
In fact, if you are to purchase Pac-Man Fever today, like off the iStore or some such, you'll get Wreck-It Ralph with it.
Oh, wow.
And it's I like it.
Well,
Every now and again, when I'm shopping for records, I run across Pac-Man Fever. Every now and again.
I love it. In fact, segue. You can't really see it too clearly, but back here, above the PlayStation and above the
Mhm.
Transformers next to it, really really dark, framed on the wall is my original copy of Pac-Man Fever vinyl. I bought
Nice.
that in whenever it came out. I loved
Yeah.
it. Had to have it.
That's
But
awesome.
it's dude, it's one of my albums that survived the water damage in the storage place.
Oh, damn, yeah. All right, yeah. That's a true survivor then.
Yep,
Yeah.
I ain't throwing that thing away.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And that leads me into the next thing, talking about music and movies and everything. I have found it really interesting how, and I didn't discover this until last year, that those of us who grew up collecting vinyl and listening to the music and all that, I mean, I have very distinct memories connected with, with Pac-Man Fever, for example. I remember listening to it in my bedroom when I was in high school. I remember listening to Motley Crue's Theater of Pain, um, Kiss with Creatures of the Night, just so many different albums. But what you don't really see anymore, and I guess I really miss this about vinyl, I love the cover art.
Yeah.
And you don't get that these days. Well, not really. Not like we used to.
No.
So what I've really gotten into, and I'm looking around in my room right now, here in the studio, I've got my actual Daft Punk Tron Legacy soundtrack framed on the wall. I have my autographed Jean-Michel Jarre Oxygen 3 album on the wall. My two disc vinyl Warframe soundtrack, again framed on the wall.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wizard of Speed and Time laser disc.
Laserdisc, nice.
Dude, that thing is fucking expensive as shit and hard to find.
Really?
I found only one on eBay and got it. Oh, and it was still sealed.
That's amazing, actually.
I've got
Heck yeah.
right outside my door here at the entrance of the studio, I've got the also laser disc to Close Encounters of the Third Kind special
Right.
edition. Framed
I was
again
going to
on the
say
wall.
I've got the Close Encounters on LP as well. I've got that soundtrack on LP.
And
I think it belonged to my folks, actually.
I just love it. So I see all this and I can't help but wonder where is this going to go from here? Because music from games, I made a recording, or I bought it, of the soundtrack to Fallout 3.
Mhm.
Now
Love
I
it.
was playing it in my room. Of course, it's some years ago when I lived at another house. And the song, oh shit, what was it? Hell, every song. Anyway, I made a copy of the soundtrack for my mom, and she did not believe that this came from a video game.
Yeah.
Because this is all the music from her era.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
Everything
right.
from like a Butcher Pete to, and boy, Butcher Pete was a scandalous song. when it
Oh
came out.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Version 2 or side 2 was even worse.
Yes, it was. But all of those old songs, like I don't want to set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Daisy. I'm trying to. I'm hearing all the different songs of the soundtrack,
Yeah.
but all of those really set the mood for the game and its visuals and just the story. All of that played. If you had, I think if I had to wander around the Capital Wasteland without hearing anything, I'd have lost my mind.
Yeah.
I would not have played the game nearly as long.
True.
But
Well,
the music.
the thing that I think is super cool is, for example, I've seen all you guys play a couple games. I've seen Jerry play a game where I think it's one of the big examples is GTA 5. You own a car, you hijack a car, whatever. You're in a car. It's got a radio, and not only does it have a radio that is playing, but you can actually change to different stations, and the different stations have different formats of music on each station, which just blows my mind. I mean, that's just so cool. Now, granted, it's probably just a very small selection of songs, but nonetheless, it allows you to change the stations and put the music on that you want to, which I just think is super cool.
So here's a kind of an addendum to that same thought where you had radio stations and games.
Mhm.
In The Sims, they would take the original artist, get with them, supply them with Simlish, and discuss it. Of course, the artist would be like, "Yeah, let's do it." They would give them the Simlish words, and they would re-record. The original artist would re-record the Simlish along with the original tracks from the tracking,
No way.
Really?
and then push it into the Sims game. I've got Sims 3 and 4 audio I ripped out of the game, and I have it on my phone and listen to it in the car.
Oh, that's
I
so
like
cool.
the Simlish version better than I do the radio version. I know the Simlish version more than I do the radio version.
That's interesting.
Hoser, to go on what you asked about where music is going. So the late, I don't even want to say the latest thing because it's been going on for a good while now. Vinyl is really back in vogue. In fact, vinyl outsells CDs now.
Yes, it
Um,
does.
a lot of people, you're like, you talk about CDs, they're like, CDs? What? You still? I'm like, yeah, I still collect CDs. I love, one of my things, if I can go on a small tangent, is going to garage sales or going to like Goodwill or some sort of charity shop and finding CDs, because not only can I collect them, they're cheap. I mean, sometimes they're trashed. That's the chance you take, but excuse me, I can rip them and use them for the radio station. So it's a very cheap, almost an endless supply of music that I can grab for the station. And it's just like they're everywhere. People are just getting rid of CDs. Like back in the day when CDs came in and started taking over for vinyl, people started getting rid of their vinyl, right? Well, now the same thing is happening. People are getting rid of their CDs in favor of either streaming, or people are starting to buy vinyl again. So there's an endless supply almost of cheap CDs out there. But as far as where music is going, streaming is obviously the big thing. Spotify and stuff like that. We've got a family Spotify account, I think, that gets used like all the time. Well, you and mom uses it too. So I mean,
Yeah.
it gets our family. I don't hardly ever use it, but it gets well used. But like 8-track tapes are never going to come back into vogue. I mean, because they were a horrible format to begin with. But audio, believe it or not, cassettes. People are starting to produce cassettes again, and I don't know why. I have a huge collection of tapes. Don't get me wrong. Some of them don't sound very good after all these years. Some of them sound almost as good as the day they came out. But people are starting to it's probably just a novelty for some of these people, but people are starting to put out tapes again. Now, I don't think they're going to
cassette that was on the floorboard for years.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't think it's going to become another big format. It's not going to come back in as big as vinyl did. But it's interesting to see people are like, oh, what is this little thing here? And see, the ironic thing is, some of these new bands, new groups, whatever, artists can put out cassettes. But aside from like myself, and your semi-serious audiophile, who's going to have a cassette player to play these things on?
True.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I've got 2 or 3 of them in the house right now, but I have a component system and I swap them out and use them. In fact, I got one sitting right there. You can, oh yeah, this is a cassette. This is a cassette deck right here.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that's the ironic thing. I guess a lot of people. Well, and see, when LPs started to come back into vogue as well, people started snapping up new releases that didn't even actually own a turntable. They were just collecting them, like you said, for a lot of times for the cover art, and just I'm a 9 Inch Nails fan. I have all their music. I've downloaded all their music. I'm going to buy this vinyl and put it up on my wall. And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people collect records that don't even have a turntable, which makes no sense to me. But then again, music is sort of my thing, and so I wouldn't necessarily understand that type of behavior. But yeah, I agree with you with the artwork too, because as great as CDs are, you don't get 12 inches by 12 inches of artwork. You get 4 by 6 or whatever it is, or 4 by 4 or whatever size it is. And cassettes were even worse. Now, at least cassettes had the fold out where you could fold out and you had lyrics and pictures and stuff like that, and I guess CDs did too. But as far as like for a cover, you can't beat 12 inches by 12 inches of cover art. You just can't. But and say I think streaming is probably going to be fairly prominent for a long time, simply because of the convenience. I mean, and the sound quality has actually gotten better over the years, like MP3s. Most software now, you can play MP3s at like 128, 192, 256 or whatever, the higher bit rates. So you get a better sound quality, essentially. And most software actually gives you that option. Whereas back in the day, the early days of MP3, if it was, I don't know, 92K, you were doing well, which is basically AM quality.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people hated MP3s back in the day. It's like, yeah, it's convenient. You can have, 15 bajillion of them on your computer, but they all sound like shit, So, but things have progressed beyond there since then. Obviously, I see now. I mean, the music on Signal to Noise, it's all MP3, and I rip it in 200. I think it's 256, because it gets to a point where you could rip it higher, but you start to it takes up a lot of space. The higher quality, the more space it takes up on your hard drive, and yada yada, and then it takes longer to back everything up, and so.
The audio that was recorded onto CDs was the straight uh, analog to digital recording, and then
Right.
MP3s was actually a compression format based
Yep.
off of MPEG, and it was great because you could actually use your dial-up modem and connect, and it might take an hour or so, but you get a whole song
Yeah.
that was low FM quality, like you were saying, 96K. 128K was fantastic, and I still have some of my MP3s from the late 90s, where I would connect up on the dial-up and let it queue up on an FTP server for about 3 hours overnight. Nobody was using the phone, so
Yeah. Man,
they came out with a lossless format called FLAC.
Yes, I've heard of FLAC.
And
Yes.
it is small, and it's lossless. Lossless is what happens when you compress something. You lose quality. The more compression that you have, the lower quality. You can really hear it. It's there's a structure called artifact. It's the same thing you can see when you have a highly compressed JPEG. It looks bad. It looks jaggy. Well, that's what you're hearing on a low or a low bit rate MPEG or MP3.
Mm-hmm.
That same compression. So that's what you can hear it with your ears, what you see in a highly compressed JPEG.
Yeah. Well, now here's another thing too. Like, then it's always going to be a debate over whether LPs have a better sound or CDs have a better sound. And I don't like to get in the middle of those, because honestly, it's almost apples and oranges. Yes, you've got Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones on MP3. You've got Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones on vinyl. Same song. They're from the same source, because these were all recorded on analog tape back in the day. The digitized version on CD or on streaming or whatever is just going to sound a lot more sterile, if that makes any sense at all. It's going to sound crisper. And you're not going to have background hiss like you do on a record. You're not going to have clicks and pops and stuff like that. Whereas a lot of people describe music on vinyl as warmer. If that makes any sense to you, you guys
Absolutely.
have heard both formats. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it comes down to, and then you've got CD versus LP versus streaming. And honestly, it comes down to, for me anyway, it comes down to, okay, am I sitting at home? Yes. What do I want to listen to? Oh, let me see. I do want to put on the Rolling Stones' Let It Bleed. I don't have it on CD. Okay, LP it is, and that's what I listen to it on, Or, I'm going to go, I have to go drive somewhere. I have an hour commute to work, Oh, well, let's throw on Rolling Stones' Let It Bleed, but let's stream it from the phone, because I'm not going to carry a record with me. I don't have it on CD. So, it really depends on the convenience and honestly, the listening situation for me. But a lot of people I'll see on the forums are like, I only ever listen to anything on LP, and and CDs suck, and it's just like, all right. I mean, you're welcome to your opinion, but you're also welcome to be wrong, I guess.
Yeah.
It's honestly, and a lot of equipment comes down to, it's just whatever sounds good to your ears,
Yep.
and that's honestly what it comes down to a lot. But yeah, getting back to the whole movie, video games and music, and I could ramble on for hours, and as I know Green could. A lot of, like, let's just take, just as a pure example, the Lord of the Rings movies. Amazing movies, beginning to end. They're some of our favorites. But the movies, I think, are made even better because the music is so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of movies are like that too. And by the same token, there are some movies out there where the music is just kind of that really detracts from the quality of the movie. For me, again, maybe not everybody, but I mean, it just good music will enhance. It'll enhance a bad movie, but it'll really enhance a good movie.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
John Williams is a great example of
Oh,
a
yeah.
composer that could write emotions into his music. You
Yeah.
pretty much know what the director and the composer was trying to portray in feelings just based off of the music.
Yep.
The scene might be sterile. It might be two people staring at each other, and depending on how it's written, it can be either tense, like they're about to just beat the hell out of each other, or it's romantic. They're about to just, oh my, you can need a towel.
Oh my. Yeah,
And it's
well, I
all
mean, and that's,
written. It's all depends on how the music is written, and
yeah.
that really elevates it.
That's why John Williams is so good at what he does, is because he can convey those emotions so well. And who's somebody else who's actually over the years has become really good at that is Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he has scored. He has done a lot of great scores for movies over the years. I mean, they've mostly been Tim Burton movies, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
he has done really, really great music over the years.
I've become partial to Robert Zemeckis. Is that the composer? Who is Robert Zemeckis used as his composer?
Give me a movie, and I could probably tell you.
Blimey! Now I've got my foot in my mouth.
Cranial, yeah.
Yeah, that's. Can you feel that? Can you feel that right there? That's
Wig
my
bubble.
brain. It stopped. Back to the Future. Good example.
Howard Shore is stuck in my head, but he did the music for the Lord of the Rings. So, and I don't own that on. Well, here, let me look it up. Back to the Future, yeah, that, because you're right. There's some great music in Back to the Future.
Silvestri.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Forrest Gump. Let's see.
Huey Lewis in the News. Oh wait.
Yeah.
ZZ Top.
Yeah. Okay,
Lilo
let's
and
see.
Stitch, Polar Express, the Marvel Cinematic Universe films.
Oh,
Several of them.
yeah, Alan Silvestri is
Yes.
his name. He
Yeah,
did the Back to the
Silvestri.
Future score. Alan Silvestri, yes.
I've really started digging his stuff too. I've always liked it, but the more I was hearing how powerful, especially in the Marvel cinematic stuff, it was impressive.
Yeah, the MCU movies have you're right, they have great music as well, actually. The main themes for, like, the main Avengers theme is almost instantly recognizable already.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear it.
Romancing.
Hoser, what are you looking up? Oh, by the way, for anybody out there who might not know of the vernacular, hoser between us is sort of a term of endearment. It comes from, and you might have to Google this, Google Bob and Doug McKenzie. They were a comedy duo from SCTV, Second City Television, back in the 80s. They did a movie called Strange Brew, which is hilarious. I highly recommend finding it. They also did a album called The Great White North, and they're Canadian, and they call each other hosers. So we years and years ago we adopted that, and we call each other. It's for them, it was not a term of endearment. For us, it has become a term of endearment. So,
Oh, take
What's the
off.
say
word?
no.
What's the origin of the word? I don't even know where it comes from.
Oh, right. Well, so it actually comes from the hockey world. Back in the days of ice hockey, before they had Zambonis, they would have guys go out on
You said
Zambonis.
bony.
They would have guys go out on the ice with hoses and flood the ice and let it freeze up, and then the guys could come out and play hockey again. Well, it was considered a menial job, and the guys that went out there and wetted down the ice with the hoses were called hosers. So
Ah.
it was an insult back in the day, and Bob and Doug McKenzie and I basically insulted each other with it. But over the years, it's evolved, and we call each other hoser, and it's we don't mean anything.
Hey, take off, you burger flipper.
yeah. That's a good way to put it, actually. All right, so
Okay, I got another thing I want to go into.
okay, one more thing.
Have either of you ever given? Pardon me. Have either of you ever listened to chiptune?
You have played chip tunes for me before, yes.
Yes.
I fucking love chiptune. I like chiptunes, and I like how that a lot of modern musicians are now, instead of making a chiptune per se, they're actually using music and sound effects from games in mainstream songs.
Really?
Yes, don't ask me. I'd have to go looking for them. It just occurred to me that was who was I talking? I got a friend of mine at the bar a couple weeks ago. And we were discussing music, and we got into chiptunes in video games and how the music industry and modern musicians today, have begun to use sound effects and music from games as like a backing, or as a music bed, as it were.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think who the name, but it was musicians using auto tune. This is just my opinion. I believe it was musicians using auto tune to give that kind of a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's full on. A lot of people call it bleepy. That distinct sound that you'll hear that you go, oh, it sounds like a video game.
Yeah.
That kind of tonality music, and it's now being worked in as part of the song. Now I'm going to have to go look for that now, but it's definitely out there. I've heard it on the radio. I've heard it streaming. Don't know who the artist was, but I had to stop and go, oh, I know that sound.
Well, find some examples and send me links, and maybe we'll include it next week, and maybe I'll play it on the air if I happen to know the program director pretty well, so I think I can probably sneak a couple of them on the air there.
I want to plug one last thing.
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely.
This was something that, Hoser, you will remember this as vividly as I do.
Okay.
I've always liked music that fit the scene.
Okay.
Whether they had something going on, whether it be, there's a murder happening, or there's a big epic battle, and they had to go find some music for it that fit really well.
Yeah.
I love it when the scene is designed to fit the music.
The music, right.
Case in point.
Okay.
The Mind's Eye.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got all those soundtracks.
Yeah, we used to play, when I worked at Radio Shack back in the 90s, we would play those, because they came with probably on a VHS at the time. There was like a VHS, there was a compilation of, I don't know how many, if I'm remembering correctly, and we would just play them in the store on a loop.
Now there are two different things here. There's the Mind's Eye,
right,
which had forget who did the first one. The guy who did Axel F. Who was that? Very famous composer back in the 80s, very well known. Well, he did the soundtrack to the second Mind's Eye, and then Thomas Dolby did the soundtrack to the third Mind's Eye.
Harold Faltermeyer.
Oh, Thomas Dolby did. Faltermeyer, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He did the second one. I think the first one was a collection of different artists, but the third one was done by Thomas Dolby.
Okay.
Now the other set of music videos, which I'm a huge fan of, is Animusic.
Oh,
Animusic, I think, is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That was amazing. But Mind's Eye really features a lot of very early CGI.
Yeah.
CGI
Yeah.
that would be prohibitively, at the time, was prohibitively costly. But today, I mean, we're so far beyond it. It's not funny. It's like I was just watching, not to go on a complete side tangent about CGI, but I watched an interview with the actors from the movie, the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Hmm.
And they were talking about the difficulties with the CGI because it was at the time when it came out, which was '95, I believe. CGI was still kind of sketchy with Hollywood, and they tried to use it, but because it was so expensive and so early, there was a lot they couldn't do.
Yeah.
So they ended up, something happened, and the animations were not what was requested for the morphs and some of the monsters in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up having to rewrite parts of the movie to match the animation they did get because no one could afford new animation
to do the CGI for it. Yeah.
Correct. It
Wow.
couldn't be manipulated. It could now.
Yeah, we took our Patty and I took our our nephew to see the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie back 94, 95, 96, whenever it was. And of course, the two of us were like, but he loved it. He thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. So we were happy to take him to it. But yeah, we were
I
not,
loved it. In fact,
not
really,
Power Rangers fans back then.
I have become one. I watch the Super Sentai Sundays on Twitch TV. I found a channel that, like, on Sundays, so like Saturday night at 2 a.m., they start playing Super Sentai until 2 a.m. Monday morning.
Oh,
and
wow.
So this is like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers before it got butchered for American audiences, and it's fucking graphic.
Really?
It's violent. Yes, it is.
Huh.
They have no problem with showing someone being murdered and dying on camera.
Damn.
Of course, it's still a lot of the same special effects, explosions, all that. But I've become a fan of it. Kind of like when I already liked Battle of the Planets, which was another thing where the music really got me.
Mm-hmm.
The music, it was very 70s disco, but I listened to it just about a month or so back, and it's still amazing. The music holds up. It's great. But I just want to say Mind's Eye and Animusic.
Animusic, yeah.
And if you're listening to this and you've never heard of these things, go get them. You can actually find the videos on YouTube, and it's not the greatest quality, but it's there. You can listen to the whole album on YouTube, and since it is video and music, but the video was created to support the music, not the reverse.
Not the other way around. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Mind's Eye. It might have been the first Mind's Eye that we played on a loop in when I worked in Radio Shack, because the graphics were just so, for the time, the graphics were just mind blowing.
Dude, let me take you back in time. It was about 92, I think. Living at the pit. Actually, no, I was still living in my grandmother's old house in Belvedere. Over at your place, so this would have been about 88 or 89. No, it would have been about 90.
Mm-hmm.
But we were all hanging out at your place. It was like you, me, the whole crew, all of us. There was a bunch of us over, and it began to ice outside. It began to sleet,
mm-hmm.
And we all sat in your mom and dad's living room, and your dad played for us first Mind's Eye video.
Yeah.
You remember that night?
I do. Yeah. Yep.
That night just opened up new doors of thought.
Yeah, I'm trying to. He brought that VHS home. I don't know if he saw it somewhere. He might, for that matter, he might have seen it at Radio Shack. I don't know, but yeah, I remember he brought that tape home, and we were just blown away by it. And he's like, "Yeah, you got to see this." Yeah. And my dad rarely got excited about anything. My dad didn't get excited about anything, but this he thought was like super cool.
It's fantastic, and it's not. Some of it, some pieces are kind of rock-ish. Some of them are very esoteric. Some of them are very kind of techno. You're going to find a lot of variety on them, but just see the videos.
Cool stuff, though. Yeah.
Find the soundtrack. It's totally worth the effort.
Yeah, definitely look them up on YouTube because you're right. They are definitely worth a listen. All right. Well, we've gone for nearly 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So I think we can probably safely give this one a wrap. Green, I actually said earlier that we should call either the network or the show XOA. And because of your your PlayStation thingy over your shoulder there, XOA. Yeah. I just a thought that hit me. Well, I think it's before we came back from our break. But anyway, all right. So we will wrap it up by doing this. Let's do Pagan Tech. One last plug, sir.
That would be twitch.tv/PAGANTEK. Pagan Tech.
Excellent. And your schedule is just hit and miss, so just basically pay attention, follow your do you do any social media, or is it all strictly Twitter? Twitch rather.
Twitch.
Sorry.
It's all Twitch, but
Okay.
drop a subscribe or whatever the
Oh, there you
mechanism
go, yeah.
is, and it'll alert you. I usually do some sort of science something or flight something. Kerbal, I've been on a Kerbal kick here recently, making rocket ships.
Excellent. The Green Bear. Plug it.
Come watch me be an idiot and sometimes just talk too much and just have fun, man. That's a big thing with me with my streams. I like to talk, and I am at my best when I talk. That's how I communicate and connect with.
Excellent.
So
and
just
that is twitch.tv/The Green Bear.
correct.
Excellent. Jerry, you will keep us up to date as to the status of your Minecraft server.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Whenever we get the IP sorted out, I'll be sure to spread that. So
Cool. And I think probably we should do, I don't know if we want to do all the social media channels, but we should probably do at least one social media channel for our network here. So we'll get that going, and that'll help us plug things and post things and all that sort of stuff too. As for me, Signal to Noise Radio is found at stnradio.com. You can find the FAQs, you can find the schedule there. If I'm broadcasting, there's a player built right in, so you can listen along there. Let me see. Today is Thursday, so I will be broadcasting Friday. That's tomorrow, starting at 6. At 9 o'clock, the Reverend Robert Evil takes over, and he plays 2 hours or more. No, actually, he usually plays 4 hours or more of goth and industrial music into the wee hours of the night. So tune in and listen to Rob because he's freaking awesome. Normally on Saturday nights, we do just dance music for like 6 hours. But tomorrow is kind of special. Actually, well, this is going to air after all of this. So I don't know even why I'm doing this. So a normal Saturday night consists of all of us, me and Rob, playing dance music. We start at 7 and we usually end up at midnight, 1, 2, something like that. And it's all just, if it's got a beat and you can dance to it, we'll play it. So it's techno, hip hop, trance, basically if it's got a beat and you can dance to it, we play it. So that's what we do there. Normally we do a Beatles show. Patty and I do a Beatles show 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings, so tune in for that. And then on Sunday evenings, Jerry Formal and myself, we do a metal show. We do 2 hours of heavy metal, and we do metal from all eras. If it's got a beat and you can thrash your head to it, we'll play it. So I think that's going to do it. Anything else before we call it there, gentlemen?
Get off my lawn.
Okay, I will take that as a no. All right. Well, this is hopefully going to be coming out Sunday. I think we're wrapped up. So this is hopefully going to be coming out Sunday. I'm going to edit it over the next couple days here when I've got some spare time. Yeah. And
so much
with
this at this point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
This job it's a good 45-minute commute to and from my job. So, but they're paying me a lot of money, so I can't complain too loudly, I guess. But I think I'm going to try to edit it. I may start tonight, but I will have it edited and I will air it Sunday, probably right after the Forge, actually, after Drew and I do the Forge. So, and Phil, whenever you decide that you want to throw it up on your airwaves, give me a heads up and I can link to it on my pages, and then that way we get the word out that we're doing this thing. So I saw your thumbs up there in your avatar. That was
That's
pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah.
So does anybody like or dislike the XOA idea? I say it's literally just something that hit me because I was looking at your sign back there.
I'm all for it.
Interested to see if we can throw some words at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to think about it.
Okay. Yeah. Give it some
Yeah.
thought. Cool. All right. All right. Well, actually, I'm going to stop recording now. Let's see. Stop. Perfect. Okay.